health is fine. Legs are fine. I think we've been intelligent in terms of, you get locked in and you want to work. We can do it. We've got to be careful that we don't, put too much pressure on their legs, especially with 2 road games in a row before this one. So, I think our practices have been sensible. We've had a lot of meetings, a lot of film sessions. I think they're in a good place.
It might be hard to quantify this, but how much further along are you this year as you were this time last year, do you think?
Well, substantially. I mean, if you remember, we played these guys last year. It was earlier in the season, but we started 3 freshmen. So that was something that you never know how that's going to work out. And we got fairly productive play from all 3 of them. But our 2 freshman guards did have 8 turnovers in that game. So obviously, they're not doing that now. Adam is way further along than he was. But again, those sophomores are juniors, those juniors are seniors. Gabe, who didn't play much as a freshman, has had a ton of experience. His game is in a completely different place. So we're deeper, we're bigger, and I think we have a few more weapons offensively. And obviously we're playing one of the best defensive teams in college basketball. So you better have some guys that can make shots, and I think we're better suited in that area than maybe we were this time a year ago.
When you took this job, a lot of people may be hoping for a quick fix, things to happen faster. You took the approach you took to slowly, steadily build this thing. Now it's paying off with a lot of some seniors and minutes like that. No regrets on the way it's gone? Are you happy with the way that part of it's gone?
Yeah, I just don't think we're an institution that would work the other way. Not in this league, not at Iowa. And it's not been my style anyway. I've sort of done this before in other places, not at the BCS level. So I recognize that when you're playing against the teams with the caliber of athlete and caliber of coach that are in this league, it's going to be a little bit harder and maybe take a little bit longer. But if you get the right staff and the right players and you have character in your program, you're going to be okay. So at the same time, you never want to be satisfied. We feel really good about a lot of things we've accomplished this year, but clearly have a lot of goals left.
The depth of your team's well known, and how deep you can go and throw guys out there, but the unselfishness maybe is a little more nebulous, but maybe a stronger bond with these guys. If you've seen a team that has as many contributors playing well and all seem to be rooting for each other as much as your team?
I think that's a fair statement. I think that's rather unique to have that many players, all of whom could legitimately be starters. Because the reality is that we all know everybody wants to start. We have guys that don't care if they start. They know they're going to play. They know they're going to have a valuable role, and they share the ball. I don't ever look out there and say, okay, I got to get him out because he's just going for his right now. I've never had that feeling with this team. And when you don't have those, sort of distractions, you can make the kind of progress you want to make, because that tells you you've got great people. They love each other, and they want to be successful, and they want to win, they want to compete. They want to be coached, they want to learn from their mistakes. And I think we can talk about where people are, but you look at each class, not only those guys are good players, but they've continued to get better. That's because they put the time in.
Is this the most unselfish team you've coached in your career?
Without question. I don't know. I've never had a team that was this deep. So it's probably an unfair comparison. I had some really good teams in Siena, but we weren't 11 deep. Really good teams, Lehigh and Greensboro, we weren't 11 deep. So they shared the ball, but those guys were playing, 36, 37 minutes a game, a lot of them. It's a different situation completely.
How do you slow down Gary Harris?
The thing that's been impressive to me about Gary Harris is, talented offensive players like him typically don't guard the way he does. he really works defensively. You know, those guys take possessions off usually. He doesn't do that. You know, he's a really intense competitor. He also, obviously, is a great three-point shooter. He's got it in between game. He can get to the rim. He's got a great burst. He can play in traffic. He can play in the open floor, and they can set him up. So, I mean, he's a guy that you have to spend a lot of time game planning for. And clearly, other teams have done it and struggled, you know, getting him under control. He's been over 20 a number of games in a row. So we're just going to have to make sure we have the right guys on it.
You talked about how you've played them close the last few times and they've come up short. What has to change when you
Can't turn the ball over.
final?
That's it. You turn the ball up. Not against this team.